Has your loved one been acting really down recently? Have they abruptly stopped doing things they used to love? How about crying for no apparent reason, behaving reckless, having frequent violent outbursts, or giving away prized possessions? These are some of the more common warning signs of suicide. Unfortunately, every 40 seconds, someone dies by suicide. So as we observe World Mental Health Day, we urge your support to prevent the loss of life. Mental health is wealth. So let's work together to prevent suicide.
We want our children to understand the importance of physical activity. Based on our Jamaica lifestyle survey, 82% is in low-level activity, meaning we're just doing enough to survive. And only 16% is in moderate and 2 in high-level intensity. So we want to get more person in moderate and vigorous activity. And so we want to encourage them to be more active so that they can get a lot of benefits. Increase academics performance, reduce stress, reduce weight loss, beautiful skin, help you to sleep better. We want it to be more active so that we can have a healthy mind and a healthy body.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, October 10. $350 million more has been provided for the country's efforts to fight mosquito-borne diseases, particularly dengue. In Parliament Tuesday, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said the National Health Fund would be providing the money for the Enhanced Vector Control Program until December 2019.
The funds are to be allocated so far as follows. Temporary work employment, some 189.5 million. Source reduction, bulky waste removal, this is in conjunction with solid waste and local government. It's 120 million. Public education campaign, 30 million. And vector control intervention, including drum covers, brochures, and so on, 10 million.
The country has been experiencing a dengue outbreak since January. Data shows that as at September 30, there had been 5,909 cases of suspected, probable, and confirmed cases of dengue on the island. It's also been revealed that between January 1, 2018 and September 30, 2019, there were 135 suspected and confirmed dengue-related deaths. 88 of those deaths occurred in 2019, including 10 in September. Dr. Tufton is urging Jamaicans to take responsibility for their own health.
I cannot overemphasize the need for the public to play their part. Invariably, most of the breeding sites are found in and around the homes, in fact, over 70% of the time. And the early warning signs in terms of symptoms, Jamaicans need to see their doctor either in the private or the public sector to reduce the risk of severe dengue.
On Tuesday, government handed over the management of the Norman Manley International Airport to Grupo Aeroportuario del Pacifico, GAP. Under the agreement, GAP will be responsible for improving the airport's land and air operational efficiency as well as financing. GAP will also complete a modernization program at an estimated cost of more than $110 million.
We are not handing over the airport. The airport belongs to the people of Jamaica. It is the management of the airport we are handling. And the operators who won the bid, we went through a very serious international bid being overseen by the World Bank and the IFC, subsidiary of the World Bank. And they were quite pleased with the way how we handled the divestment.
Last October, the Airports Authority of Jamaica signed a 25-year concession agreement with GAP and its local subsidiary, PAC Kingston, for the operation of NMIA. Government will receive a percentage of the airport's gross revenues, and the operators have the option to extend the arrangement by 5 years. In the meantime, Norman Manley International Airports Limited is now authorized to conduct aerodrome operations. Transport Minister Robert Montego handed over the aerodrome operator certificate to President of the Airports Authority of Jamaica, Audley Diedrich, on Tuesday. He says the certificate is not transferable and will be in effect until October 3 of next year.
It says that the entity has met the requirements of civil aviation regulations and the conditions prescribed thereunder for the issuance of the certificate, and is hereby authorized to conduct aerodrome operations in accordance with the said operating regulations and rules and the terms and conditions.
The minister says this move is expected to increase flight traffic into the island. 2,000 beneficiaries under the voluntary system of land registration will receive $100 million in grant funding to help them get titles for their land. The grant funding is being provided by the Land Administration and Management Program (LAMP) Fund. This was disclosed by Minister with Oversight for the Information Ministry, Carl Samuda, during yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House.
Partial funding of $20,000 will be offered as a full grant to landowners, and up to a maximum of $50,000 will be given as a conditional grant, which should be repayable only if the land is sold within 5 years of receipt of the grant. A caveat will be lodged against the certificate of title to protect this interest.
Minister Samuda says fees and other charges from beneficiaries of the grant will revolve into the LAMP Fund. The Land Administration and Management Program is a government initiative to help all owners of land obtain certificates of title and to update the country's information on existing land titles. Students at the Caribbean Christian Center for the Deaf in Kingston now have access to the internet and other computer-related services with Tuesday's commissioning of a community access point. This brings the total number of CAP sites established across the island to 312. The $7.6 million facility was developed by the Universal Service Fund. It is outfitted with 15 desktop computers, 1 internet broadband server and supporting network capability, 2 multipurpose printers, and 2 air conditioning units. The USF also installed solar panels to help offset the electricity costs of operating the computer center.
As a ministry, we understand the importance of equipping members of the disabled community, including the deaf, with access to technology, and we are paying keen attention to this segment of the population. Through the USF, the ministry will continue to support the vulnerable community.
Today, the USF has invested $50 million on projects aimed at assisting the special needs community. And finally, 95-year-old Nora Johnson, a resident of Point Hill in St. Catherine, is the latest recipient of a new home under the government's indigent housing program. Local government minister Desmond McKenzie presented Ms. Johnson with the keys to the newly constructed dwelling on Monday. The concrete studio unit provides the senior with a well-outfitted bedroom, bathroom and kitchen, complemented with a water tank. This is the 14th such dwelling to be completed under the indigent housing program during the last 2 years.
We have another 4 in construction, and there's 1 more for the parish. I'm expecting that by the end of the calendar year, we would have completed the target that was set. As a matter of fact, we are going to surpass the target that was set for the year, which is 28, based on the number of houses that are presently in motion.
The dwellings provided under the indigent housing program are given free of cost to Jamaicans in dire need of assistance. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Life is all about making decisions, choosing from a number of options to do a particular thing, which may result in a specific outcome.
It can be difficult, but there are 4 things you can do to help make that decision.
Stop.
Check out what's happening and remind yourself to think before acting.
Think. Make sure you're aware of the choices. all the advantages and disadvantages, then think about the consequences.
Act.
Choose the best option and do something about it.
Review.
Finally, review what you have done and determine if it was good or bad. That way, you'll be in a better position to make the next decision, whether big or simple.
Government is serious about the continued protection of the island's natural environment. Watch as Prime Minister Andrew Holness shares measures being implemented to reach Goal 4 of the Vision 2030 Jamaica National Development Plan in respect to the Cockpit country.
The Cockpit country, an environmental, cultural and historical asset which the people and the government of Jamaica value greatly.
The Cockpit country is the country's largest water bank, the largest store of Jamaica's underground water, and it feeds many rivers. In seeking to protect the Cockpit country, we examined the areas that have the feature of the Cockpit, and then we looked at areas that depend on it, such as the forests. And we looked as well as the biodiversity that lives on it, the animals and the plants that live in that forest. And we protected that as well. And then we examined the issue of hydrology, meaning the water that is related to that area flows into the area and flows out of the area, the sinkholes and the various caves and crevices through which water enters and seeps underground, and we protected those as well.
That protection was necessary because the Cockpit country has been under threat from human activity. Destructive farming techniques, improper garbage disposal, and overgrazing by animals are but a few of the actions that have negatively impacted this area. Thankfully, the government has stepped in by way of a protective boundary around the area. The Forestry Department is undertaking a ground truthing mission to align these boundaries on the proposed map with the actual landmarks. Ground truthing is taking place over 76,000 hectares of land across the mountainous regions of 5 parishes in the area designated as the protected Cockpit country. The process, which started in 2018, is expected to be completed in 2020.
That boundary will be enshrined in law, and within that boundary, there will be no mining. And within that boundary as well, certain agricultural practices will be banned, such as slash and burn, the use of dangerous chemicals. And it will be a regulated space to protect that water bank of Jamaica and to protect the forests that grows in the Cockpit country and to generally protect that area as a national ecological park for Jamaica.
Consideration is also being given to the historic significance that the Cockpit country bears to all Jamaicans, especially the Maroons.
There are areas around the Cockpit country that are thought to be part of what is culturally considered the Cockpit country. The Cockpit country was where the Maroons lived, and it is where the British could not go. It is where the British were defeated in battle and had to see the Cockpit country and walk around it, creating what is historically called a ring road around the Cockpit country. And in fact, the Maroons were able, one of the probably only peoples who have defeated the British within this area and had a peace treaty. They were literally an independent state within Jamaica during the time of slavery.
This is our legacy, a section of Jamaica that spans across two parishes, Trelawney and St. Elizabeth. The government of Jamaica will be continuing their fight to protect one of our greatest assets.
And I want it to be absolutely clear to the Jamaican citizens that this government is the government of the environment. So we are not the government that will trade off economic benefit for environmental cost. That is not this government. So yes, we hear the complaints. Yes, we hear all that is happening on social media and what is being said. But I want to reassure the Jamaican people that this government will be responsible with our environment.
It's the 9th staging of the JIS Heritage Competition, and this year we're talking slavery and reparation. Entries are now open, so listen up. Primary and prep school students, this is what you should do. Imagine that you are one of the 7 national heroes. Make your case for Jamaica to be compensated for the effects of slavery. Answer this question in an essay of 400 to 500 words and submit using the application form on our website, jis.gov.jm. Entrants must be aged 9 to 12 years old. Secondary students, the poster competition is for you. Submit your digital or illustrated posters to depict the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. The photo competition is open to tertiary students in accredited Jamaican institutions. Send us a photo, also representing the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. All entries should be submitted using the application form on the JIS website. For more information, contact 876-922-3590, extension 2137 or 2132. You may also email heritageessay@jis.gov.jm, heritageposter@jis.gov.jm, and heritagephoto@jis.gov.jm. Deadline for entries is Monday, October 28. Go ahead, express yourself in the JIS Heritage Competition 2019.
Government recently announced the establishment of a Forest Management Corps of the Housing, Opportunity, Production and Employment HOPE program. These interns, who number over 1,000, will be trained and certified in elements of forest management. That includes seedling production, tree establishment and maintenance, as well as forest law. Get more details of other aspects of the HOPE program in this week's OPM Connect.
Welcome to OPM Connect, the program that keeps you informed about government activities, programs, and policies. I'm Naomi Francis. Today, we zone in on an initiative announced by the Prime Minister 2.5 years ago, the Housing, Opportunity, Production and Employment Program, or the HOPE program. The Prime Minister simply likes to call it Helping Our People Excel. And today we have 3 very esteemed persons to speak with us on the HOPE program. We have, first of all, Colonel Martin Rickman, the National Coordinator of the HOPE program. We also have a former participant, Omar Moody, and of course the Managing Director of the Heart Trust NTA, Dr. Janet Dwyer. Let me start off with Colonel Rickman. You are the National Coordinator of HOPE. Tell us a little bit about the project and how it's been going over these last 2.5 years.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. The HOPE program has been going very, very well in the last couple of years, thanks to the partnership and support that we get from a number of agencies, including, of course, the Heart Trust. The HOPE program is designed as a youth engagement program where we recruit in particular those youth between 18 and 24 years old who are not in work, not in any form of developmental training or anything. And we take them through a process of training initially, and the training includes training in values and attitudes and work ethics and citizenship, as well as training in a skill, and usually a skill of their choice. Thereafter, we put them through work experience It could be an apprenticeship type or internship type work experience where they will hone the same skills that they would have learned whilst being guided in a development process for up to 1 year. During this time that they're on the job training or on the job experience, they'll be given a stipend.
Yes.
And the intent is that at the end of the period of attachment, they would be certified by Heart Trust NTA and be a lot more employable and ready for the world of work.
The Heart Trust has been doing a lot in terms of training, upskilling our people, and certainly playing a major role in the HOPE project. Tell us a little bit more about that, Doc.
Okay, for the HOPE project, the Heart Trust NTA is responsible for the core skills component of the training. Once they have completed the core skills component and they're placed in on-the-job training, the monitoring towards assessment is done through the Heart Trust NTA. We also are responsible for the assessment of these young persons out there in industry. In addition to that, we have a placement unit within the Heart Trust NTA where we seek to assist these persons who have completed their training in placing them in jobs that they can continue. But what we have found, though, is that our collaboration and integration with the HOPE program has led to a lot of young persons, before completing the program, finding employment. We have had a lot of not only ministries, departments, and agencies collaborating with us, but we have had private entities that have come on board. And there are private entities who have said to us, I took 15 as a start. At the end of the training, I've employed 10. Send me another 15 that I can commence the training with them. So the training through the Heart Trust NTA is going very well for the HOPE participants. Omar here is a typical example because he came into the HOPE program.
Yes.
Then he accessed the training at the Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning, which is now merged with Heart.
Yes.
He got his 5 subjects that gives him his high school equivalency, and now he's accepted into the Heart School of Construction to do his training in construction.
Congratulations, Omar. Wow, absolutely wonderful. Colonel Rittman, the project has been very, very successful with government entities, but really, it really was the first phase of the program. So now we're moving on to phase 2, where we're having the buy-in and participation of private sector entities.
That is correct. So we have embarked with the phase 2 discussions and even engagement with private sector entities. And so, yes, we have quite a few private sector entities, and they are singing the praises because to them, one of the challenges that many private sector entities face when they're going out looking for potential employees is that there is something missing from the person. The ones who have gotten involved with us have been saying to us, listen, I don't know where you're getting these persons from, but they are, a cut above the average person that we recruit. So what that is saying is that there are some private sector entities who look at HOPE as a means of recruitment for permanent employees.
I want to go to Omar because I know he has a fascinating story. Welcome, Omar. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your background. What did you do before you got into the HOPE program?
Well, before I got into the HOPE program, I was currently on the street wiping windscreen at Devon House.
You're a windscreen wiper?
Yes.
Where were you stationed?
Well, I first stationed at 3 Miles area. Due to the police running me off the road, I have to relocate myself, found myself up Devon House, and from there I found myself up Poppy inside, running the stretch, Hope Road stretch.
Wow.
So
you were on the streets. How then did you become part of the whole project?
Well, I was wiping this lady car glass for about 6 months. When we developed a friendship, she take my number and she contact me and send me a broadcasting list with the whole program advertising, and therefore I made my foot. I put in the steps, I made the walk, go up to NYS, National Youth Service.
Yes.
And signed up the form, and I got a call for training.
Wow. Tell us where you were placed,
Well,
and how did that make you feel?
Well, I was placed at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. I do digitizing, I do filing, I go out in the field, I identify lots, I do survey, I know about the topo, I know about the lateral, the main sewage system.
Wow.
I have lots of experience that I'm grateful for.
I wanted to come back to a very important component, Colonel Rittman, of the program, and that is the savings component.
Right.
So many of our young people aren't really into this saving modality. In fact, financial literacy is something we really need to improve in Jamaica, but that is mandatory under this program. Explain that for our viewers.
Okay, so during training and during the time that they are placed as an intern, all persons are given a stipend. Built into the stipend, and although the stipend may be small, built into the stipend is a compulsory savings component.
Yes.
So the take-home amount that they get, each participant knows that we are helping them to save for their own future. The idea being that at the end of their participation in the program, this savings component is then handed over to them.
It's theirs.
Okay.
Your final comments as we go.
Yes, I see hope expanding, and I think I might be selfish here, but I am looking forward to hope being incorporated in the Heart Trust NTA moving forward. We are at the tail end of a merger,
yes,
and hope will tie effortlessly into our youth initiative programs.
We're out of time. Dr. Dyer, thank you so much. Omar, Colonel Rittman,
Thank you very much for having us.
Really, really. This is just a fantastic and phenomenal program that is transforming Jamaica, one young person at a time. And I want to thank you for the service that you're doing to Jamaica, and thank you, Omar, for just taking that leap of faith and transforming your own life. Thank you so much, viewers, for joining us this week. It's been an interesting discussion. Join us again next week for another edition of OPM Connect. I'm Naomi Francis.
Did you know that you can apply for a copy of your birth certificate online or by visiting any of the Registrar General's Department offices listed on their website? For ease of processing, there are several things you need to know about the person or child whose birth certificate you are applying for. Here's a checklist. Ensure you know the correct name and spelling of the person, as well as their mother and father. You will need their date and place of birth, which is usually the name of the hospital or location they were born. Parish of birth is also important. Find out also the birth entry number along with the date and place of registration for the adult or child. Remember, for additional information on how you can apply for a copy of your birth certificate or someone else's, contact the Registrar General's Department today.
And that's the time we have for you today. Be sure to join us tomorrow around about the same time on the station. We maintain an active online presence, so be sure to keep up with us through our website, our pages on all the major social media sites, our YouTube channel or mobile app. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.